Nils Hoffmann is one of the biggest acts in Anjunadeep and melodic house at the moment, and I've listened to almost all his songs to understand the top 5 things that made him grow as an artist, so you can start applying this to your track and start growing as an artist as well. But before we begin, answer me this: which melodic house, organic house, or melodic techno artist do you want me to analyze the next? Let me know over here in the comments below, and let's get started with this video. Let's go. As Nils says himself, he normally starts his songs with the vocals, and they're pretty common in his songs, as you can even listen in this song from 2016 called Bloom. And that is because the vocal gives him a hook to build his song around. Essentially, with the vocal, he built the chord progression, the percussion, and basically everything, as you can even see him saying in this post over here. But a small portion of his songs don't have any vocals, and in this situation, that's when the lead becomes the main hook of the song, as you can listen in his remix of Amen. But recently, I've noticed that Nils started to use both leads and vocals at the same time in his songs, as you can listen in this song called Lonely. Having the lead and the vocal in his song help him by keeping the interest of the song alive and never make it repetitive, because when the vocal fades out, the vocal comes in to keep the momentum and that energy alive. However, pay attention how they don't compete to each other. Either the lead is playing in a different register, so the lead is a little bit more high-endy than the vocal, which is a little bit more mid-range, or whenever the vocal is in the song, the lead stays more in the background, as you can listen in the song called Running in a Dream. You can hear the vocal in the front end, but when the vocal fades out, the lead goes right to the spotlight of the song to keep the energy and the momentum alive. But in the breakdown, things get even more interesting. Nils does something that I rarely see melodic house tracks do, which is changing the melody or the chord progression in the middle of the song, as you can listen over here. That gives a completely new vibe to the song, bringing back the attention to the song, bringing back the interest of the listener to the song. Ultimately, you can see how he uses the hooks, the lead, or the vocal as the spotlight of the song and build his song around it. And that is something that I mentioned in this video about how to beat writer's block that you can see over here in the top right corner. If you haven't watched the video, pick a vocal that you like, and literally any vocal works, and just write some chord progression on top of it, delete the vocal, and then you just keep the chord progression for yourself, and you can even get some real vocals for that chord progression in the future. But that's not all about Nils songs, and that takes us to our next point in this video. In addition to the leads and vocals, Nils songs have also something really common in his songs: the percussions. The percussions of his songs are as natural and organic as they can possibly be, as you can listen in the song called Holding Me Back. Not super complex, but at the same time really organic and really natural. It reminds me a lot of Rufus the Soul, who Nils said is a big inspiration for them, and it's almost like someone is playing real drums, as you can also listen in the song called Lonely. And again, really prominent lead in the spotlight of the song, which is why I feel that these percussions are intentional to be like this. To avoid getting in the way of the vocal and the lead that are normally super prominent in the song, the percussions have to be simple, because if they were too complex, it would just make the song too crowded. And then you can ask me, but Leo, how do I make percussions like this? To make percussions like this, it's all about sound selection. You can always start simple with just a kick, and you can add an open hat to give that open, organic kind of feeling. And then some 16th hats, just as someone would be playing on the hi-hat. And even some claps or rims to make the sound even more organic. And then to top it all, you can always use some rise or open hats at the end of the bar to make things a bit more interesting. And there you go, you have percussions just like Nils is doing, and you can find all these percussions in the description below in our new melodic house pack with over 1,000 sounds, and I'm sure that you're gonna love it. But there's also one thing that is really interesting in his percussions as well. Notice how there's a lot of top end, but not a lot of low end in his percussions. In a way, that became the signature sound of Nils Hoffmann. Therefore, whenever adding percussions, remember that they have to serve the vibe that you're going after. They can't be so empty to leave the song empty, but they can't be so full to leave the song too crowded. And the same applies to ear candy, which takes us to our next point in this video. Nils' songs are quite raw when it comes to ear candy, and that happens for the same reasons as the drums. To avoid making the song too crowded, he just focused on what matters in the songs, the hooks, as you can listen in this remix of No Ending over here. A lead, a vocal, some percussions, and that's it. And do you agree that it would be too much to add more ear candy just to stuff the song? And you can say to me, Leo, but you recommended me to add ear candies to create movement in my songs. Yes, you can also create movement by automating the cutoff of your leads and chord progressions, as Neo does in a lot of his songs, as you can listen over here. Can you listen how the cutoff opens as the 8-bar ends? And another thing that he also does is add chord bursts, and that is something that he did in his remix of Moments. Could you listen to those swells and those kind of in the chords? Other than this, you can also hear him adding some stabs to complement the lead progression whenever the lead is not so complicated, as you can listen in Running in a Dream. You can listen to those in the lead, and that helps exactly to complement the lead when the lead is not so complicated. And that's exactly when the ear candies are going to take the spotlight of the song. But remember, the percussions and the ear candies are secondary in these songs, and they're there to complement the vibe of the song. And crowding them will just take that chill, happy vibe of the song away, which takes us to our next point in this video. Like most of Lane 8's songs, Nils' songs are mainly made for listening and not much for clubs, and that happens for a few reasons. First, the kicks are not so prominent. Second, the bass is not so prominent. And third, at its fullest, the songs are not so energetic and aggressive as Yodo or Tin Liquor, as you can listen over here. Now compare this to the start of the song from Yodo. Definitely not as aggressive, right? And at the same time, it feels a bit happier, doesn't it? And that happens because of the way that Nils constructs his chord progressions. For example, I noticed that in his latest EP called Holding Me Back, all 4 songs tend to end in a happier, more hopeful kind of feeling. Listen, for example, to Holding Me Back, how it gives a sad feeling in the middle of the chord progression, but then it resolves in a happier tone, giving that hopeful and happy kind of vibe to the song. So far, it gives a happy, hopeful vibe to the song, but then it moves to a sadder vibe, and then it ends in a happier tone again. And that last chord just gives that hopeful feeling back to the song. That, in addition to using the major chord and also the way that he manages the energy of his songs, give that happy, feel good, easy listening kind of vibe to his songs. And it all seems that it's done on purpose and not accidentally. Therefore, whenever you're constructing your songs, make sure that the elements that you're selecting, the way that you're constructing your song, and also the energy that you're carrying in your song contributes to the vibe that you're after. And that's what eventually, over time, could make you break through with your songs. But what actually made Nils break through with his career? While studying Nils Hoffmann, I noticed a few things that helped Nils Hoffmann break through in his career. And these are things that could help you as well break through in your career as well. First, we can't neglect the collabs that he did with Ben Bomer that combined have over 110 million plays on Spotify. And that is Spotify alone. So all you need to do is collab with a world-class artist and you're done, right? No, it's not that simple because collabing with a major artist is not that easy. But that is considering how Ben is now. Back when Breathing was released, Ben was just at his first year at Anjuna. And the lesson here is that collabing with other artists could expand your possibilities of breaking through, since if the artist that you collab explodes, you'll likely get some traction and this could help you build momentum as well. Second, I noticed that before Nils Hoffmann moved for real to Anjunadeep, he used to release constantly at a label called Poesie Musique, as you can see in these covers over here. By releasing constantly with the label, you start to have some leverage with the label, and this can give you a special treatment with the label. For example, you can start asking for vocals, you can start asking for remixes, and funnily enough, Ben Bomer did a remix for Nils Hoffmann back when Ben Bomer was just starting in Anjunadeep, and this could have been the way that they met. Not only this, but with the breathing collab that he did, it could also be the way that Nils Hoffmann was introduced to Anjunadeep that later became his home label. Therefore, if you want to break through as an artist, doing some collabs and also focusing a label can be one of the ways that you can break through, because this networking and this special treatment that you can get from the label can essentially catapult you to a bigger label in the future. Now, if you want to learn more about melodic house, you can see this video over here about basses from melodic house, or you can see this video over here about leads from melodic house. I hope you like this video, and I hope to see you in the next Abstrakt video next week. Ciao!